Hi, I'm Max Pardo-Rokes, part of the delivery team for the Productive General Practice Quick Start programme, and I'm talking to you now about Frequent Attenders module. That module, it links really well with 2 of the 10 high impact areas, specifically productive workflows, number 5, and number 10, developing quality improvement in general practice. So what does the Frequent Attenders module look like, and what does it look at? Frequent Attenders is a module where we're looking to work with you as a practice to develop a systematic way for you to review the frequently attending patients in your practice. With everything that goes on in general practice and all the pressure that you guys are under, this is a module which we're hoping will give you a chance to look and review the way in which we're providing the care for some of those patients, which you may otherwise not have the opportunity to do in your day-to-day working lives. For frequent attenders, we start by pulling data from your system in an anonymised format to look at the frequency with which patients have attended your practice. So here we're looking for, have they had a telephone consultation or have they had a face-to-face in-practice consultation? Once we have that data, we actually put it into a histogram a little bit like this. And typically what we see is there are 3 kind of key areas. You'll have patients who are attending 0 to 3 times a year, and we would expect them to be in the majority. And we will have a little look at these patients who are attending 0 times a year just to check that everybody who should be coming in is coming in. You'll also commonly see somebody here perhaps turning up 150 times or more in your practice over the course of the year, and we would expect that you've probably looked at their care quite significantly over that time. And then you'll probably have a group here turning up 20 to 40 times a year in your practice. And these are patients who can quite commonly go under the radar. So what we do once we have those patients is we start to look at actually what could we do differently with their care so they don't have to attend the practice so frequently. We do that through an MDT session, normally the 3rd session of 3 with the practice. And that session lasts only 1 hour with the MDT group. The idea being that it's a short, sharp series of decisions about these patients and the care that they receive. We look at each of these patients across 5 areas to review their care. And sometimes what we can find is that these patients have been flying under the radar for a number of different reasons. Sometimes that might be they have mental health issues. Sometimes it might be that they have been gaming the practice and seeing different GPs and that hasn't been picked up yet. Sometimes it is that they genuinely need to be referred to another area of the health service. And we will work with you to actually make those decisions in that session quite quickly. Now those are your decisions made by you, not by us, but we facilitate that session. And one of the key things about the way that we do facilitate it is that it is only an hour long with 1 flip chart side of actions. Key part of this program, and this module in particular, is to make sure that we are not overloading you with actions that you then have to take back and nobody ever gets done. Much better that we do a single A1 side or flip chart side of actions that are completable and achievable and that we start to see some outcomes from. Great thing about this module, it tends to really stick in practices. So once you know how to pull this data, once you know how to run the histogram, and once you can start to run that session, the MDT session, there's no reason that this can't sustain as a monthly meeting in your practice, looking at how do we manage this group of patients better so that actually they can start to reduce. When we did this, we looked at one of the GPs we worked with looked at this group of patients in a bit more detail, and they said that they estimated they took up about 17.5% of all of their list size, but 87.9% of all of their practice activity. And therefore, working with this group to improve the way that they access care can make some really significant changes to you and your practice, and actually potentially free up quite a lot of time as well for other consultations. Frequent Attenders has 3 key steps in it. Firstly, the preparation, which is always very important for every module. And in this one, we're looking to pull the data from your system and organise the meeting in advance with your GPs. Once we have pulled that data from the system, we will also be looking to quality check it. We do occasionally find that people have got coding issues on there, and so it's much better to pick those up before we get into the MDT sessions. Then we move forward into the do, of which there are 2 MDT sessions. The first of which we're looking at focus areas for the practice, so which groupings do you like to focus on? And secondly, we're then going to also be doing a simulation in that MDT session. And then in our second MDT session, we're actually going to be looking at the data against your practice. So what are we seeing? Genuine patients, what changes would we like to make? Again, when we're reviewing those patients, we only spend 4 minutes per patient, so those meetings are punchy, and we also only limit it to one flip chart side of actions in order to make sure that we're not leaving you with reams and reams of work to do. Final part, and this takes place over the next full year, is to make sure that those actions are agreed, take place, but actually we'll also be looking to you to continue to hold those meetings after we've finished working with you.